All right. Hey, everybody. I'm with Kedar from Karma Wallet. This is episode 5 of Positive Impact. Kedar, you want to tell us a little bit about yourself and the build? Oh, wow. This is a struggle. The platform you're building?
Yeah, absolutely. So my name's Kedar. We're building a new kind of finance platform where you, as a consumer, as an individual, obviously our top priority is that you can continue to grow your own wealth. But I think increasingly in today's society, it can be very easy to feel disconnected from what your money's doing in the world. And so we're building a platform where you can grow your own wealth, but also your positive impact in the world. You can know what kinds of companies you're supporting, what initiatives you're supporting. Right now, we're focused on spending, so where you spend your money every day. But in the future, there will be savings, investments, donations, etc. And just another piece on this: if somebody who's listening to this is sort of on the HR or people teams at employers, we are actually now working with employers to offer Karma Wallet for free. So it's a cost to the employer, but then free to their employees as a way to support the values of their employees and creating a better future. So you can essentially, just like you would to a 401k, automatically allocate part of your paycheck onto the card. And that's sort of your commitment to using that money for good. And it's free to you as an employee.
Cool. A way to think about it, and you totally correct me because I'm just a consumer trying to simplify. It's sort of like having a credit card for gas credit. Like instead of getting that 2% going for gas, it goes to the impact to offset the carbon that I'm doing with the transaction. Is that a way to think about it?
Yeah, so that's one feature that we have. I think carbon is important, of course. I mean, everyone knows that that's a driving factor in our environmental decline, but we also track a lot of social issues. So it's not just that you are getting incentives to spend better, which we do have. You can earn up to 20% cash back when you support ethical and sustainable brands. But you can also see things like how many women-owned companies am I supporting, minority-owned companies? Am I purchasing from companies with ethical supply chains that are using recycled plastic, things like that?
I love it. So tell me a little bit of like how you came to the conclusion to build this. Your founder journey.
Yeah, that's a good question. So I'm not a finance person by background. I'm actually a biologist. I have a PhD in evolutionary biology. Spent some time as a data scientist after that, working primarily on developing AI tech for emerging startups. A little bit of time as an investor and also a market researcher. But I think ultimately where this came from, this venture is like a personal itch, which was I got out of grad school. I was thinking about where my place was in the world, the impact I was making. And I personally came to the conclusion that there are basically like two ways that we all can impact the world. One is the jobs we have, which to some extent you have a little less control over. You need a job and you try to find one that's a good fit. But the second one is really like where and how we use our money. And the reason I came to that is I was trying to do good things. Like, there goes Twix. I was trying. I got a delivery, and he was very curious. So I was trying to do things like volunteer and compost and recycle, and I ran a nonprofit organization, and I kind of just always had this empty feeling like, does this really matter? And so what we decided to do was, there had been a lot of great tech development around, am I investing in good companies? But we felt like 95% of Americans spend way more money than they invest every year, right? Just sort of a fact of life. And those dollars matter as consumers. The companies we support, it applies pressure on them to do the right thing. So we built a platform where we essentially track data about consumer brands. And then when you spend with them, we show you what that money's doing in the world.
Yeah, it makes a ton of sense. I absolutely love it because there's this notion that we're all trying to make better habits, but you're simplifying it, right? Like you're bringing that data to the fingertips. So tell me about like how like the first 6 months, 12 months of the business, because that's like when it's the most onerous, right? So yeah, like how did the grant?
Yeah. So we founded the company towards the end of 2019. So we spent about 3 years just building the data platform. Um, I had a full-time job, so that we didn't have to pay too much in salary. I co-founded this company with my father, who has been an entrepreneur in the past, and he didn't take a salary. So we were very bare bones, sort of really focused on consumer education. I mean, at the end of the day, if nothing else, regardless of sort of the financial success of our company, we just want to empower consumers to make better choices and make it easier to do that.
Yeah. And as a brand, I have to say I'm super ecstatic to be able to participate with it. Um, cool. I have a couple questions about like a little bit more on Twix. So do you care to comment a little bit on Twix's journey and how you think about sustainability when it comes to pets?
Twix was found in a parking garage by like with his brother. Um, I stumbled across them one day in grad school. Somebody was there looking to find someone to adopt them, and they were about 3 weeks old, no taller than a blade of grass, and looking very ragged. um, and I think uh, in a lot of ways, Twix's journey reflects like what a lot of us go through, which is when we got when I got him, like he basically had no fur because he had a um, okay, sorry, now he's trying to get attention. He had no fur because he had some sort of nutritional deficiency, and so we had to figure out the right food for him to eat, if there's any medicine he had to take. And I mean, I love what you guys are doing because I think a lot about the products that we consume, the food we eat, like everything that we use to nourish ourselves affects who we are, how we can show up in the world. So now Twix is on some special food, and he's enormous. He's not too overweight, but a little bit, and he's very long. Uh, so he's like 22 pounds, um, and healthy and happy, and yeah, it's a good life.
Amazing. I'm you have to send me your address after the call. We'll send you some cat treats. We've been doing this invasive fish treat that we just launched, which we take fish from like the Mississippi Asian carp or kopi now, and dehydrate it, make like a single ingredient thing. Cats seem to enjoy it.
Mm. Twix is a sucker for. I've given him like dehydrated minnows in the past. Yeah.
Perfect. Yeah, so Twix is the perfect customer. Okay, so thinking about impact a little bit more largely, beyond what we're up to, what excites you coming around these next few years? Yeah, like talk to me about what you're excited by in the space and what you're seeing as in terms of trends that you think are good places to start.
Yeah, I have a personal thesis, I think, or something I've noticed, which is I think we are at an inflection point as a culture around, especially let's say millennials and Gen Z, or if you were to poll them, probably most are pretty cynical about just capitalism. Um, and I practice Tai Chi and Kung Fu, and I sort of think about the world a lot as like yin and yang and balances. And I think money can be used for good or for bad. And the way that we as a society and culture are starting to think about it is realizing that, through the vehicle of capitalism, whether it's good or bad, like we can create some positive change. And so I'm seeing just so many, I mean, it seems like every new brand that I see at the core, at the ethos is about creating a better future, not just making more money. Um, so I think what I'm excited about is that, just as I look around my apartment, there could be a future where every single material and not material product that I own or that I use is created, delivered, maintained, supported in a way that's good for me as a human, good for Twix as my pet, good for our society, and good for the environment.
Yeah, and I agree, right? So like when you go to like consumer shows now, there's no longer sort of like an impact segment. I mean, there might be a sustainability element, but everybody is consciously thinking about how to improve on the given structure, whether it's impact or sustainability, uh, or just more looking for more equitable practices. It seems like it's really widespread, which is an absolutely amazing.
Yeah, and something that I spoke at the Sustainable Brands Conference last year on some of our data. So because we track basically which values brands support, and we know where people spend their money, we can do some really interesting analyses around like which values do people support for which categories of products. And what we find is that, and this is sort of to your question about trends, is that depending on the type of product or service you're buying, people tend to care about different values, right? If I was buying pet products for Twix, I would care about different things than if I was buying a piece of furniture for myself. So I think that is going to be really interesting as we evolve over the next few years, is learning and understanding about which values do people care about in different industries. And also, one of the things I think that we do is cool, and one of the ways we can help brands is every person is different, right? Every person has slightly different values, and you want to support what you believe in. And so at Karma Wallet, what we hope to do, what we feel like we're working on, is as a consumer, we make it easy for you to find the brands that resonate with who you are. And as a brand, we make it easy to find the exact perfect community that you want to build.
We're nearing the end here, and I want to make sure I ask you about things that you'd like to plug, anything that you've seen or you just want us to make people aware of. Floor is yours for that.
Yeah, so we are very shortly, hopefully in March, launching our first financial product, which is a prepaid reloadable debit card. Essentially, works just like a debit card, and I don't have it nearby, but I'll send you guys a picture.
Okay, and we can literally. So yeah, we'll video edit it in, so we'll pop up.
So the way it works is that you essentially create a Karma Wallet account. We send you the card. It's made of 85% recycled plastic, and you don't have to go create a whole nother sort of profile at a new bank. What you do is you just connect your existing bank account to our card, and then you load money onto it, and you spend it just like any other debit card. You can earn cash back from brands that align with your values. You see the impact of the purchases that you make. And then in the future, we'll offer other financial products, but this is the one we're starting with. And there's no credit check required. It really, one of the great things about it is that it in itself is an equitable financial product. Pretty much anybody can access it because there's no credit check required. You do have to put in your social security number, but that's just for identity verification. We don't store any of that. So really, you just go sign up for a card. There's very little barriers to entry. We do charge a monthly membership fee. That's how we make money. We feel like it's important for everybody to sort of contribute to the community that we're building. So we don't try to really make too much money on your spending like a lot of other financial institutions do. But we say, hey, pay a couple bucks a month, be a part of what we're building, and every dollar that you spend creates positive change.
Thank you for the time today. I really enjoyed talking to you, and I look forward to catching up and like grabbing a cup of coffee in Kansas City or Chicago whenever it makes sense.
Absolutely. Let me know anytime you're down here. I live on top of a great Italian restaurant, so that's a good option too.